Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is in memory of. And in the US, today is Memorial Day, a day dedicated to remembering those who have died in active military service. And I think we're going to take the opportunity today to not only remember those who have died in military service, but those who have been wounded and damaged and beyond, and to look at our current paradigms around war and maybe begin to imagine a better world. So good morning, Rosalind. So good to have you here with us this morning. Welcome, welcome. Before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine this time brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together and rub your fingers vigorously against your palms just to feel that sensation, the temperature, the friction, the texture, and allow yourselves to become present to all of that sensation. Allow it to bring you into your body, this remarkable, remarkable physical form that enables you to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning. So Memorial Day. We have a debt of gratitude to all of those who have lost their lives or given a portion of their lives to defending our rights and our liberties, and that model is the model of having to go to war, to be exposed to and to experience the horrors of war. There's no way to discuss war that is not inclusive of horror. The way that humans interact with each other in our in defense of our beliefs, our property, our freedoms, and it's worth stepping back, because especially now we're in a situation where we see these kinds of confrontations on all levels, internationally, and even within communities where there are all kinds of factions and hostilities, and this whole notion of war and what we accept as a given. I'm wondering what kind of world we could imagine where war wouldn't be a concept. And the devastation that war reaps on the people, not only the people in battle, but the cultures where those battles are taking place, the earth on which those battles are fought, the families that are impacted on all sides of such conflict, the generations that inherit those wounds, the people that live with PTSD as a result of those kinds of confrontations. War is a no-win situation for everyone, and yet we have not come to a place where we have conceptualized a possibility beyond war. And it's a very interesting thing to be discussing as we really truly remember not only those who have died, but those who have remained and have been wounded on all levels, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, all levels. And the cost of war. You know, interestingly, economically, war is often something that spurs an economy. It's kind of an irony, but at the same time, the impact of it is devastating. People who survive war living their lives from the trauma of that experience, having it shape their lives and the lives of their families for generations. And so looking at the bigger picture, which is something we keep trying to do here, and keep trying to imagine the possibility. And by the way, Rosalind, thank you for being here on what is a holiday. So much appreciation to you. And to everyone who's listening, I think we get to be looking at the things we take for granted as human beings. And we're supposed to, we believe ourselves to be the most intelligent species on the planet. And one would think that with all our intelligence, we might find a way to coexist on this very small living rock in the universe, you know. As I think of the state of humanity, with talk now of a potential third world war, which is nothing short of insanity, and with the war in Ukraine raging and wars around the world, you know, where there's fighting that the US is engaged with all over the world, and fighting in all kinds of other countries. It's nothing short of true insanity, given our technological capabilities to truly destroy the world now, that we haven't come up with a way to live beyond that kind of conflict, that we haven't globally made a concerted shift into finding peace and what peace might look like. and how we can be propagating peace. One of the deepest myths that allows us to propagate this notion of war and this kind of conflict is our separateness. We've experienced 2 mass shootings in the past month, and in the war in Ukraine is raging, and there are all kinds of other publicized, unpublicized wars around the world. And the question is, what do we get to do to transform this? Because no war is ever won. It's an illusion to believe that a war is won, because there's so many losses on all sides, always in any conflict. And there are casualties that are unrecognized and uncounted. And the biggest casualty is to the continued consciousness of the futility of that kind of conflict. I mean, we don't recognize the futility of that kind of conflict. We still labor under some kind of notion that there is such a thing as winning or losing a war. You know, I think we get to revisit all these notions and to put ourselves in a place of saying, wait, if we are so evolved, how are we permitting this to continue? How are we each creating the space that holds this heinous possibility even? You know, how is it that we in ourselves are perpetuating this? Because that's one thing that we each can do, is transform ourselves to a place where the notion of war is unthinkable. I realize that this is talking about a quantum leap for humanity to imagine a world without conflict, to imagine a world where we were able to resolve conflict in a peaceable way, where people were not so separate and isolated and filled with hatred for self and others, that it would be justified to go and kill others, whether it be in war or in mass shootings. That what would it take for our evolution to make that unthinkable? That to make it beyond our comprehension. It is currently beyond my comprehension that we do these things. So Sue, welcome. So good to have you here this morning on a holiday yet. And Sue says, imagine a world of peace. This is a leap we would like to take. I agree. And I don't think we even have the smallest inkling of how to do that. And I am here to say that I think it starts with each of us individually. I think it starts with each of us presencing a place of peace and connection. That as we start to imagine and really truly understand that we are all connected, that you are me and I am you, that we are part of one unit, that we are part of one consciousness, one global universal being of life on this planet, on this living planet, that we are one with all of life, then maybe we can start to imagine a world where where resolution, where alignment, where compassion and connection rule rather than conflict. Because so much of this conflict that we experience, if not all of it, is based in a culture of domination and control, separation, domination, and control, rather than harmony, alignment, connection, interconnection, interdependence. Rosalind says taking by force versus transforming by itself. Well, this whole notion of taking by force, any spoils taken by force bring with them the taint of that taking. And some people revel in that. You know, it just came a vision of all these trophies on a wall of murderous rampages against nature, where people are trophy hunting animals just to be able to hang them on a wall, which is, I mean, if you think about it, it's crazy, you know, that I show my prowess, I demonstrate my prowess, my strength, my power by killing an animal like a lion or an elephant or a rhinoceros. And thereby I exercise my dominion. It's crazy, right? I mean, these things that we are indoctrinated to accept as the way that things are. The world is, there's so much that we have accepted and established as norms that is nothing short of insanity, truly. And war is one of those things. You know, what are we fighting over? Fighting over resources, fighting over rights, fighting over race. I mean, it's crazy, right? Fighting over trying to dominate and control. And so this whole fundamental assumption of me against you, if you win, I lose. If you have some, that means less for me. More for you means less for me. No, this isn't the case. There is a way to go forward together with each other and in alignment with the planet, in alignment with nature as a positive partner. What does that look like? What does it look like to cultivate positive partnerships? The way that, you know, it's just so insane that in the face of like in these school shootings, what do? Because there's a problem. We're seeing the problem with guns, people coming into schools with guns, and the solution that some people are arriving to is to bring more guns into the schools, you know, bring in more guards, bring in more protections so that we can protect and defend with guns against guns. I mean, look at the paradigms that we are perpetuating, and look at the long-term consequences of this kind of thinking. It's death. It's death, because as long as we think this way, truly a third world war is inevitable, right? We can't, because it's our thinking that is that is bringing that into being. So what is the radical transformation that we can bring about within ourselves and within our families and within our schools and within our cultures that allow us to heal ourselves and each other, that allow us to heal that separateness, that allow us not to turn a blind eye to the pain of people that end up going into a situation and murdering other people. How do we heal the pain of people who feel so disconnected that they could imagine such a thing, let alone perpetrate such an unspeakable act? And in the context of war, not only is war itself unspeakable, you know, that we can imagine that this is somehow a solution to issues on our planet, but within war, when you talk about the atrocities that occur inside war itself, you know, is incomprehensible. And then within war to be talking about atrocities that occur where the least of our humanness, the worst of our humanness gets expressed with rape and torture and killing of civilians, where we feel so threatened that we completely dehumanize people that we have christened to be our enemies. I mean, it's biblical. It's even in the Bible, these kinds of wars and conflicts. What's up with that? Isn't there a higher place that we can come from? And what does it look like within ourselves? What does that shift within ourselves look like to rise to a place of the possibility of unity, of peace, of connection, of interrelationship? What kinds of changes need to occur in our heart and soul to make war and all these kinds of conflicts obsolete? Who can we be? What's possible for us? It breaks my heart. Just when I was, I don't know how old I was. I don't know if I was somewhere between 13 and 15. I was babysitting. And I remember hearing something on the news, and it was about someone who had been raped and tortured. And it struck me so deeply to feel how horribly wounded we must be to allow such a thing. And it broke my heart. And in that moment, I just felt like I don't understand what it is to be human if this is part of that experience. And I still don't. I still don't. We disconnect. We dissociate. We live outside our hearts. And perhaps that's our path forward. As devastating as it is to connect through the heart sometimes, not out of hopelessness, but to connect to those who are in such pain, starting with ourselves. And to be healing that pain through love and connection, through accepting those parts of ourselves that we have exiled, through finding a place of compassion, through our confusion and through our woundedness. And it starts here, right? It starts with us. And speaking and living peace, as challenging as it might be. And in fact, I think that it means discovering what that might mean, because I don't even know what that new space looks like and feels like and acts like and sounds like. I do believe that light trumps dark. And as we source that light within ourselves, it spreads. Sue says, Mira, thank you for your compassion and commitment to justice. Thank you, Sue. So on this Memorial Day, let us remember, reassemble a notion of what a world can be with peace, where war is inconceivable, where it's not a thought that can be thought. Let's reimagine our possibility as a species on this planet that can be a gift to life. And I think that's it for this morning. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection. And I go live here each weekday morning on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page. Please check out the other amazing programming on Enlightened World Network, EWN, One with the Earth, and Enlightened World Living. Rosalind says, freedom from our own ideas, tolerant of others, and realizing that others are a reflection of ourselves. And that in healing ourselves, we get to heal the world. Blessings and gratitude to all of you. Thank you so much for being here, for being willing to ask the hard questions, for being willing to expand yourself into new possibility. So much love to you. And I hope to see you again here really, really soon.